This track of the Allie G Show is brought to you by Backline Running, the gear that goes the distance with you. Whether you're chasing a PR, going out for a casual run or walk, or hitting the gym, Backline always has your back. I am a walking, talking example of that. It's fashionable and super functional. I mean, to the point where I ran 67.5 miles in the same outfit and felt amazing. It's Allie G approved, and you know that means something. So if you're ready to try some new gear that's designed to go the distance, head over to backline.com. That's BAKLINE.com and use code AllieG for a fun little discount off your first order. And don't forget to let me know what you get because I love merch and I love Backline. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Allie G Show for track 33. It is only right to have pod favorite and returning guest, my good friend Jared Ewing, here to discuss how many states he's hit since the last time he's been on the pod with his one marathon in every state challenge, and debrief on the Sydney Marathon and another super cool marathon that he ran in Africa. I cannot wait for you guys to hear this one. As you can tell by the video, when you watch it, I had the biggest smile on my face recording this because Jared is just awesome. Jared, welcome back to the Allie G Show. I am so happy to have you back on the pod to talk about the Sydney Marathon, your 50 marathons, one in every state journey, all the cool things you've been doing, because every time I text you, you're in a different location, which is awesome. And I love it. And you are just one of the most ambitious and inspiring people I know. So I'm super happy to have you back on the pod. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me back on. I'm honored to anytime I can come back on to a podcast. I guess I'm doing something right, or I did something right last time. So
That's
it's
right.
always a good time, good vibes talking to you, and so I'm always excited to get down to it and talk about kind of what's been going on and what's gonna go on. So
Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
of course. I love it. So we were just talking in the pre-show about how the last time you came on the pod, we manifested you podiuming at the Boston Marathon this year, which you did, of course. I
Yes.
had no doubt in you. I'm pretty sure I was like, "You're gonna do it. I just know it." And we manifested from there. And I think you had mentioned that you were trying to run a marathon in all 50 states. So how many have you checked off so far? Because that was back like might have been March, honestly, that you were on the pod last. So
Yeah, I think I
you
came
you
on. I
know.
think it was the week before Boston. I think as we were making it
Mm-hmm.
the lead up to the Boston. But yeah, I've been putting in just a little bit of work since then. I am up to 24 states, so I'm almost to halfway.
Wow.
But
Wow.
what's even crazier is I'm up to 5 continents, five
That's
of the 7 continents.
insane. That
Yes.
is insane. Which of the states has been your favorite so far?
Man, I mean, that's such a loaded question. It's like saying which is my favorite marathon, but I'll just go with a recent one. I ran the Revel Downhill at Big Cottonwood in Utah, Salt Lake
Love it.
City.
Love it.
I found out real quick I'm not much of a downhill runner. It definitely humbled me for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I thought, because it's a faster race, I was gonna have no issues. I mean, I kind of people had said they're not easier, and I found out
Mm-hmm.
real quick it's a faster course, but it was not easier. My glutes, those things were on fire nice and
Oh,
early. I found myself
wow.
trying to brake when people say don't, but it's so hard not to.
I
But I
know.
still had a good time, honestly. But the reason why I liked it was just because of the views. I think to date, that is a marathon with the most beautiful views I've ever had.
Wow.
Another top one is Jack and Jill's out in Washington State.
Oh
That
my
one's
God,
just
that's
awesome
awesome.
because you run through like a 2 mile tunnel to kind of like start the marathon, and then when you pop
Wow.
out, you have the most beautiful views. And I
That's
think
awesome.
this one takes the cake. So for as much as was complaining in my head about the altitude and my stomach and all that, it was just a blessing about there. The absolute gorgeous views. You start with the sun coming up,
It's
and
amazing.
I mean, you can't ask for much more. I mean, I tried to make sure I was in the present as much as I can, looking around, taking it all in. But yeah, I gotta say that's up there.
Love it. Love it. Two really good ones for those listening that you're going to have to check out. I'm going to have to check out the one in Utah, I think. I'm a little afraid of the altitude, though. Is that a thing there? It is,
Yeah,
right?
so yeah, because I think Salt Lake City in general is around like 4,000 feet, so you're not as high as Boulder or Colorado per se. But when
Mhm.
you start the Big Cottonwood Marathon, they take you to the very top of the mountain, which is at like 9,000 feet. And
Okay.
so that's a whole different level. I've never ran at that high of elevation. Again, I ran the Boulder Marathon last year around this time, and it's just,
Mhm.
around 5,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
But starting at 9,000 feet is
It's a lot.
it's a lot, and you're running downhill. So I think the combination of that altitude and your body moving that fast, going
Mhm.
faster than it's used to, my stomach really didn't like it as much. But
Yeah.
again, the views kind of take that just to the side. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I
Totally.
think there's another one out there called St. George's, which is very
Mhm.
popular amongst the 50 staters. It's very close to Salt Lake City, I think.
Mhm.
But another one that's gorgeous. Just those mountains out there is like
Love it.
God's work, man.
No, I got to get out there for real. And it's interesting that you brought up the downhill running because I was just talking with my coach about this, and having a downhill workout in your marathon training is so critical when you're running a marathon like that, because you don't realize how bad it kills your
Yes.
glutes and your quads, everything, everything. And I never thought about it until my coach said it to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's actually a good point. We always practice uphill," which
Yeah.
understood. But
Yes.
when I truly, before this training cycle, I had never heard of a downhill workout. So interesting that you
Yeah,
brought that up.
definitely.
But
I think it'd be definitely good, build you up for this for sure, because it's going to break you down. I
yeah,
mean, I've ran some downhills, but not a downhill for 26 miles. That's
yeah, that's a lot.
3
Starting at
hours and change.
altitude.
Yeah, that's a totally different story. Some of these ultras I've ran, you go uphill, then uphill, and
Hmm.
so you get some downhill, but downhill for 26 miles is just a whole other beast.
No, for sure. I bet. Well, I'm proud of you for doing it and pushing through, even though
Yeah,
it was probably very difficult and very painful. But
thank you.
I mean, you do all of these cool things. So, um, yeah. But and again, you're doing the 50 states, but instead of keeping it all domestic, you flew like across the world to
Yes.
run the
So
Sydney Marathon. Which, for
yeah,
those
so
that
not
don't
to
know,
mention
again,
not to
no,
mention
go ahead.
too. So yeah, I was saying I've had 5 of the 7 continents, and
It's
so
crazy.
back in June I ran in Kenya. So
Wow,
that one
that's
was
right.
another awesome marathon, and then
Were you were like doing running through a safari, no?
yeah, it was called the
Were you-
Lewis Safari Marathon, and
Wow.
you raise money for the Maramara Forest that's out there, and for all the communities and stuff that are within that area. But that was absolutely a life changing trip as well, just because. I mean, you go to Kenya and then you kind of fly into Nairobi, which is a city, like their
Mhm.
biggest city. And although it's a city, it's a little bit different. Like there was no street lights, like meaning like
Wow.
green, red, yellow. There's none of that. There's just cops directing traffic. So the traffic is just
Really?
absolutely nuts. It's
Wow.
like how
wow.
if you did any of the stuff here that you did there, just road rage would be out of control. We wouldn't last here in
wow.
the States. But that's what I noticed first and foremost. And so as you're traveling along from Nairobi all the way out to the Mara Forest,
Mhm.
hours, you're just seeing the different communities, and then you start getting to what the communities in which you kind of think of when you think of like you know Kenya and Africa, and
Mhm.
so you really it humbles you seeing the way people live out there. Everybody's I don't know if it's because we're tourists or something, but they're always smiling, always waving. And I
Mhm.
mean, these people don't got much, man. We truly have first world problems, and I think it's always good to go see that stuff in person, just to
Mhm.
re-humble you and re-ground you, and really kind of show you what are true issues.
Yeah, that's so
Um,
true.
but then in that marathon, we ran out on an actual conservancy. So
Wow.
there's lions out there, there's rhinos, there's giraffes, you name it. So they have to come out with a helicopter an hour before the race to fly around the course to scare off all the animals. And what they do is,
Wow.
yeah, they continue doing that throughout the race. So you feel safe kind of seeing the helicopter kind of up there. And then they have
Mhm.
rangers, the guys that are the guards on the conservancy. There's like a guard every like 100 meters. So you feel
Okay.
safe, but still at the same time, you're like, yo, literally the other day, a half hour out, I saw some lions. Like, so
Yeah,
that's
you're
like
kind
an
of it kind of
you
turns quickly into like you might be running for your life,
yeah, you might be
literally.
PRing because you're running for your life type
That's
stuff.
right.
Uh, but
Wow.
it was an amazing experience too. It was actually one of the tougher marathons I had ever run, but that's just because it is also at 6,000 feet of altitude. And that course, there's like no trees, right? You don't have like trees like we do here. So
Right.
you're just running in the open. And although it's quote unquote winter there, it's still in
Hmm.
the 70s and 80s. So
Wow.
between
Is it
the heat,
dry heat or like humid?
yeah, yeah, it's dry
Oof.
heat, and then you've got the altitude beating you down, and then you're running on the roads that like the safari trucks go on. So there's just
Hmm.
like up and down, and there's hills, and like it's not flat roads. So you're dealing with gravel, rocks.
Wow.
So literally everything that could be tough about a marathon, it was it. But it makes you slow down, and which is good because then you can look around and take in. You're in Kenya, you're in Africa. You shouldn't be trying to send it anyway. You should be
Yeah.
taking it all in, and that's kind of what it did for me. And so, life-changing experience. We went to safaris. I got to literally see lions up very next to the truck. There's like no
Wow.
doors, so I mean,
Yeah, are you on like a Jeep Wrangler? That's what I'm picturing, like a
yeah,
Wrangler, no
yeah, it's like a
doors.
Toyota Land Cruiser, but it's
Yeah.
basically the same thing, right? And these
Wow.
lions come up right up next to you and stuff, and then you're like, this is about as close as you're ever gonna get to a lion, unless you're insane enough to like jump out of the car or something like
Right.
that. But
Right.
you felt perfectly safe. The lions pretty much see those trucks as like a huge animal, and they're not gonna
Hmm.
attack it. And then they're so used to seeing these trucks, hearing these noises, we kept on laughing because we would see like a pack of like 6 or 7 male lions. They were called like the
Hmm.
Topi brothers, but all they would do is sleep the whole time. And so we kind of like, hey, like we want to see it go out there and like kill something.
Yeah, like we want
And
to see some action out there.
but all they did was sleep. They're just truly like big old cats, man, just taking cat naps.
That's
They
crazy.
slept for like 20 hours or something like that. But it was still just insane seeing those things, how
I
powerful
can't
they
even
are.
imagine. I can't even
Yeah,
imagine. That's
yeah.
like that's definitely a bucket list. Maybe not marathon, but a bucket list trip for me would be getting out there and seeing all the animals and getting up close and really to your point, like seeing other people and the little villages and the
Yeah.
neighborhoods, quote unquote, and things like that. And it definitely does humble you and it puts things in perspective for sure.
Yes. So I
No,
went out
wow.
there with Fitness International Travel, with
Hmm.
Kelly and that company. And I was telling her, I was so happy that I went and did this trip first because eventually I think we all know that Cape Town's going to be turning into a major world major here
Yep.
soon, which will
Yep.
be Africa. But I have a feeling Cape Town's going to be like Sydney or any of these other cities. So
Hmm.
getting to go to actual rural
Yeah,
Africa, get out there in the
for
sticks,
sure.
man. I think I'm so happy I got to do that first and see that side of Africa before I go back.
Absolutely.
So,
Was there one thing that you were that like made you do it, or were you just woke up and you're like, I want to do this?
well, when I was out and running Tokyo a couple years ago, just there was a group of friends, these girls that I was kind of pal around with in
Hmm.
Tokyo, and we had heard, Kelly say that she's going to be adding a Kenya package, and we were kind of like, hey, like if you do it, I'll do it. Purely that
Yeah.
those running memes we
Peer
always see,
pressure.
like
Yeah,
us running friends. If you do it, I'll do it. So it
that's
was kind
right.
of like that. And so when the year came by and Kelly put up all the information, I saw it
Hmm.
immediately and I was like, I'm in for sure. And so then I sent the message
Absolutely.
out, and then the other girls, they saw it and they joined too. So that was kind
Love
of why
it.
we were thinking it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did it. What a story to tell, Jared. That's insane. Again, I wouldn't. I feel like you're the only one I know that would do that. So I'm living vicariously through you. um, but yeah, let's fast forward to Sydney. So you flew all the way around the world to run the Sydney Marathon,
Yeah.
which just became one of the Abbott World Majors. And again, you mentioned, I'm sure Cape Town, I agree with you, is definitely going to get added. But let's talk about the travel to get there. Like, what was your travel like? Were you nervous? Are you a good
Oh,
traveler?
yeah.
What was the
So,
situation?
so it's a 23-hour trip in the air. And
Oh,
so It's pretty much
Props to
Tokyo
you.
plus, yeah, Tokyo plus a whole another 7 hours. And so I had to fly from Cleveland to San Francisco, and then from San Francisco, which was like 5 or 6 hours,
Hmm.
and then from there, from San Francisco, flew all the way over to Brisbane, which is in Australia. Now, the
Hmm.
reason why I didn't fly into Sydney was because I did an extended package with Fit and Kelly,
Cool.
and that started up in Port Douglas, and she has you kind of show up 3 to 4 days early, which is great because you're going to be jet lagged, and so the
Yeah.
more days that you have in country there, the better to kind of prepare yourself. So we flew to Brisbane, which from
Hmm.
San Fran to Brisbane is like a 16-hour flight. So I went from 5 hours to 16 hours. Now we're 21 hours flight time, and then from
Wow.
from Brisbane up to Cairns, which is where we were stopping to kind of for 3 or 4 days in the first place. That
Hmm.
was another 2 hour flight. So like 23 hours of flight time.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna lie, I went full bougie and I got the lay down seats.
I mean, you have to at that point, right? I
You
feel.
kind of have to, yeah. I mean, for one, I think in general, everybody should do it, but I know it's
Hmm.
super pricey. So I totally
Yeah.
get it. And then, but two, I mean, with my leg, I'm not gonna be sitting down with this leg for
Yeah.
21
No.
for 23
the
hours.
the
Getting
laying
up
down
every
seat
hour, yeah, getting up
worth it.
every hour to try to power walk down the hall. Like, no, that's not
Yeah.
happening. So, and
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna need to sleep, so I got the lay down seats. Those were huge, so that made it
Hmm.
more bearable. But yeah, we get over there and we went up to, so when you land in the Cairns, we took an hour trip up to Port Douglas. So Port Douglas is on the north side of the country.
Okay.
Sydney's down on the southeast side of the country. So up in Port Douglas, you're super close to the Great Barrier Reef, like the
Wow.
major one.
It's
And so there's plenty
so
of stuff to
crazy.
do. I ended up going scuba diving at the Great
No
Barrier Reef.
way.
The life changing. I'm talking
Wow.
about life changing experience. There was these two girls that I met through Fit. I pretty much put the word out into this entire group. I said, "Hey, I'm a single guy. I'm a solo traveler. I'm like,
Hmm.
but I'm always up to join people. I'm like, if I don't, if someone doesn't ask me, I'm probably just gonna kind of stick around and not do much. It's kind of how I
Hmm.
am.
Yeah.
But if someone asks me, I will join, gladly join, and I will be third wheel, fifth wheel, whatever you want me to be.
Yeah.
I'm used to that by now. But I said I'll tag along, and so we went scuba diving, and I've never been scuba diving before.
Hmm.
So I was a little nervous, not gonna lie.
Yeah. The
I've never
first
even
time
been
I went, I was freaking out. I can't even imagine the
I've
like
never
Great
been
Barrier Reef.
I've never been snorkeling before. So I think I kind of lied and said, "Yeah, I've been snorkeling before, but we're talking about maybe when I was 5 years old, snorkeling in my pool."
It's
We're
fine.
talking about that,
It
right?
counts.
Yeah. So people were like, were you certified?" Well, no, for this one, I forget how they do it, but you don't have to be certified, but you're with somebody
Okay.
that obviously is. You're with an instructor,
Hmm.
and the instructor we had, shout out to Martin, man. Martin out there with Scuba ID. He was phenomenal, a great instructor, just the nicest guy. He made sure that you were super comfortable. There was three of us, so he took us each down in there by ourselves, made sure we were comfortable, tested us out, did our little tests we had to, and then
Hmm.
we went down for like 30 minutes as a group. And
Wow.
so we went down there for 30 minutes. Then what was cool was you'd come back up onto like the boat, the yacht, or whatever, and then they would feed you, and then you would travel to a different part of the reef. Then you'd go down again for another
Wow.
30 minutes, and then you'd come up.
What?
They'd feed
That's
you,
so cool.
give you coffee, whatever you wanted. Then they drove you to another part of the reef, and then you got another 30 minutes. But it was
Wow.
just amazing seeing that Great Barrier Reef. I mean, it's literally like I've been to aquariums and stuff, and you see like the fake ones, or I don't know if they're fake or real, the ones they have. But it,
Hmm.
it kept on once in the water there. It was like pinch me moments. I was like, I can't
I
believe
bet.
I can't believe I'm literally at the Great Barrier Reef this close, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Scuba diving.
yeah, like usually I'm on the other side of
Wow.
the glass.
Yeah.
So it was just absolutely amazing. So
Did you see anything fun or scary?
no, I didn't see any sharks or anything like that. But at that point, I mean, because that's like my number one. I'm scared of
I'm
sharks, but I
terrified. Me
but I
too.
told myself, I mean, I'm 40 feet under the water. I said, if one comes, there's nothing I can do. I was like,
That's oh wow, you
so
left it
I was like,
all out
so I
there.
just like kind of like all the fear kind of went away because I was like, it is what it
Yeah.
is. Like if it comes, like there's nothing I can do. Besides maybe
Hmm.
give it my bad leg so I can't feel nothing and try to
Yeah.
poke it in the
True.
eyes or something.
Fair
Yeah.
point.
But so
That's so
I
funny.
saw like I found Nemo. I found Nemo. Um,
Yes.
Plenty of dories under there. Um, I didn't see a sea turtle, although other people did. I was really wanting to see one of those. But
So cool.
yeah, I think there was like a reef shark or something, which is like these teeny tiny ones. And other
Hmm.
people said they saw those. But it was just a bunch of different kinds of really cool, like fluorescent fish and stuff. And that was just,
That's so awesome.
yeah, it was awesome.
Wow. So those were the days leading up, right?
Yeah,
To the
yep,
marathon.
yep.
So what was it like after experiencing all that, like waking up on race morning? Were you like, did you have any nerves? Were you like, all right, it's another one and we're
Well,
just
I
going to go
kind of
for it?
so after 3 or 4 days in Port Douglas, we flew to Sydney, and then
Hmm.
we were there like a day or two before the actual marathon. But they everything there was very similar to like all these other marathons. You had shakeout runs all over the place.
Hmm.
I went to a couple of those, and then really, we ate at a few nice places right there because our hotel was at the Four Seasons right there, right by the Opera House, so you
Wow.
could see the bay and the harbor, absolutely stunning.
So
And at
nice.
nighttime, beautiful. I mean,
I bet.
I kept saying the nighttime views were 100 times better than the daytime views.
Hmm.
But again, like you're pinching yourself. You're like, I'm literally right here at the Opera House where
Hmm.
everyone's seen pictures of that.
Yeah.
And so kind of the lead up is kind of like any other major marathon. The first day you get there in the area, there's not many people
Hmm.
there yet. So with each day builds the electricity in the air as more people show up, and you're like, oh, we really are doing a marathon. Like this really is
Yeah.
a thing. Like this is happening. And so the excitement and the buildup kind of leads up. And so
That's
then it
so cool.
became, the night before the race and then the race morning. I kind of just always have a little bit of nerves, a little bit of angst, but
Hmm.
that's just like normal for me. I can always
Same.
have that. Um,
I always say that when I don't have them, it means I'm like, not that I don't care anymore, but it just means that I'm not as like in love with running as I thought I was
right.
anymore.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I'm
a good
over
way to
it
put
kind
it.
of, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't have any nerves, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And
Like
it's like, it
whatever.
doesn't even matter if I'm going for a PR or not. I always get
I
some
know.
sort of
Same.
angst for it. I can never sleep the night before.
Me too.
And
The airplane
so,
sleep. I feel like I'm always, or the airport sleep. I get the sleep of like, when you have to wake up for a flight and you're nervous, you're not going to wake up. That's how I
yeah,
feel for the
yes,
marathon. It's like
that's
when
a,
you're afraid you're going to like miss a test at school or
it's a
something.
perfect way of putting it. Yep. And you seem to always have a dream that like you did sleep through your alarm or
Always.
something.
Always, especially with Boston, every time. Every
Yeah.
time I have the same dream. It's crazy. But
So
wow, that's crazy.
yeah, so the morning of, so they you do it's a point to point. It's not
Okay.
a complete circle or a closed loop. So you got to pretty much take a train
Oh
to the
wow. Okay.
start. Now ours was very short lived. It was like 2 or 3 stops, so it wasn't
It's not
far.
bad.
So they don't. It's not too far from where you're finishing at, but it's
Hmm.
far enough to where the majority of people are hopping on the metro, the
Wow.
train to get to
Okay.
the start line. And so when you get there, you hop off, you do a little bit of a walk.
Hmm.
It's kind of like London. You get off, you do a little bit of walk, and then you see this huge park, and it's kind of
Hmm.
all fenced off, and you see the different openings to where like they're called uh, not shoots or like corrals, but I
Hmm.
forget what they called. Like the area, there was like A, B, C, D, different parts of the park where you would go with your group. And
Hmm.
again, it was a lot like London for people that have run London, as like not only do you have like your huge starting area, but then
Hmm.
the group, your starting times are kind of lined up with the other groups. So just because like you're an A
Okay.
doesn't mean all of the A groups are running before all the B groups. It's like A1 will go, then B1 will
Hmm.
go, then C1 will go, then
Gotcha.
D1, then
Okay.
A2, right? So
Hmm.
that's kind of how they get you in your area and all that. And then it's also like a rolling start.
Okay.
kind of just like London. So like they'll give you like a 5 minutes. Within those 5 minutes is when you're gonna be starting, and
Mm-hmm.
so you get into chutes. I thought that was cool. Cool,
That is
cool. They
cool.
called it chutes instead of corrals.
Yeah, it's different.
So like, all right, you gotta get to your chute by this time, and so
Mm-hmm.
getting over there, and then yeah, you kind of start just like kind of walk. They do the elites and the pros, and then everybody kind of just slowly starts walking up, and then you just eventually you get there,
Just go.
and you take off. But
And
porta
it's
potties and stuff,
Sydney.
yeah, porta
No,
potties
go
and
ahead.
stuff were kind of just like any other one. They had a decent amount. I mean, you still had to wait
Mm-hmm.
in line. It wasn't
Of
a terrible
course.
wait though, but you wait like, 15, 20 minutes. I
Okay.
had plenty of time to do that and then drop my bag off at the bag drop, which was
Okay.
somewhere
So you
in
didn't
like
feel rushed at any point.
no, nope,
Seems super organized.
got there in plenty of time. Um, and then yeah,
Love
you
it.
take off and then the marathon starts.
It's crazy. And it starts at the Sydney Harbor Bridge. Is that
So I,
right?
yeah,
Is that what
somewhere
it's called?
well, no,
Yeah.
somewhere close to there.
Okay.
But I don't think it's not quite there.
But you
Um,
run over that in like the
yes,
first few miles?
yeah,
Wow. Is there
yep.
like an incline
There's a
or
decline. Yeah,
oof.
there's a decline.
Those declines. That's
It
the theme of
sets you.
the theme of the track tonight
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just the downhill.
it sets you up. I mean, so like you start, and I forget how long it took to get there. I think it was like a half mile, but then you hit this decline and you run that. It seems like forever, but it might be just another like half mile or something. But it's
Mhm.
pretty steep and it's like road. So I mean, you're
Okay.
sending it down. But the funny
Yeah.
thing is, it flattens out, and when you hit the flat moment, you're like, oh, like this isn't good.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're like, this isn't
That's how
good.
Boston is in
Yeah,
my head. You know
you're like,
the downhill at Boston and
yeah,
right when you get through the start line is
yeah.
like such a steep decline and then you're like, "Oh man,
Yeah,
this
as soon as
sucks."
it flattens, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna
Mhm.
be a long day," and
Yeah.
that's why that's why Boston's wild because it's downhill. Then when you hit the flat, you're like, "Oh, this feels rough," and then you get used
Yep.
to running flat. Then you hit a hill, and the hill
Yep.
is like, "Oh my gosh,"
Yeah.
So
And then
you
you go
get
like
you
all the
get
way down Heartbreak and
yeah,
it
so
sucks.
you get used to running either flats or downhill. Just a
Mhm.
little adjustment upwards, and you feel like it's just gonna be a long day.
No,
Uh,
100%.
so so that's kind of how it was at Sydney. It flattens out, but then you run over like the harbor bridge, and you do see everything. Kind of the sun had come up for about a hour by that time, but it's still really beautiful views
Mhm.
within those first like 2 to 3 miles. And so what I
Wow.
was telling people was the beginning of it and the ending was my favorite part because they had the best views.
Love
Um,
it. What was
all
the
through
end view? The Opera House?
the end view was that opera house, and
So
you're
cool.
kind of like you kind of run through the harbor again, but like
Mhm.
at a different point, so you're getting close, and so you get all these beautiful views again, and then you finish right by the opera house. I mean, it's amazing. uh,
It's wild. The metal
yeah,
was cool. I saw
yeah,
everybody's pictures of like the cutout
yeah, I
of
thought
like
that
the
was
metal and the
yeah,
Opera House showing.
yeah. At
It's
first
so
I was like,
cool.
what is this? Like, why did they do that? All right, looks like someone just took a bite out of it, and then
Yeah,
come to
yeah.
find out
I know, me too. I was like, "What is this?" And then I
it's the
saw
opera
everybody
house.
posting it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Um, no, go ahead.
I was just say, yeah, I think what I ended up doing was because I didn't do that because I didn't realize it at the time you're supposed to. I just took someone else's picture and said that was
You
me.
know what? I mean, yeah, you earned it. It's fine. You both ran the same, you both ran the same course, and I'm sure Abbott or Sydney Marathon official accounts posted it anyway. So
Yeah,
steal away. I
but
love
yeah,
it.
so the marathon itself, a lot of people were saying it was a tougher course, a harder course.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I've ran so many at this point. I wouldn't put it in my top five hard courses. But
Okay,
everything's perspective, right? If you've only ran 3 or 4 marathons, it might be one of
might have
your
been
harder
tough.
courses that you ever ran. It was hilly, but I thought the hills were very doable. There was nothing that was like
Hmm.
really a big hill. It was a very much a rolling hills sort of course.
Hmm.
I actually like rolling hills.
I do too. I was just gonna say that
I
it
kind of
helps
like
a
to,
little bit.
yeah. As long as the hills aren't like extremely steep or very big, I kind of like leaning into those little hills and then using the downhill part to kind of like get my momentum going again and kind of just getting the juices and everything flying.
Me
So
too.
I kind of used it. I was like, all right, this is what it's going to be, and I took a full advantage of all those hills.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally, I liked it. I liked the course, but again, a lot of people thought it was a little bit tougher. The weather was okay. I think it started
Mm-hmm.
off in like the 50s, and
Okay.
then it warmed up to like the higher 60s. And
Okay.
so it wasn't terrible.
Not
It
horrible.
wasn't
Only
the
a little bit
coldest.
hot.
Yeah, it wasn't the coldest, but it wasn't the hottest. So it was nice temps, I thought. And then as far as
Love it.
the crowd support, it was probably like you would compare it to like a another marathon that's not a major. So I would
Mm-hmm.
compare it to like maybe what the Akron Marathon is, what the Columbus Marathon is, where like near the city, yeah, you're gonna have lots of people cheering you there. But as you got out of the city into like
Mm-hmm.
neighborhoods or stuff like that, there was pockets of people cheering. In which
Okay.
that was the thing I was most interested in seeing, since this was the first year it being a major. I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
expecting it to probably have a little bit more people than they're used to, but I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not in its maturity yet. So I'm sure years down the line, there's going to be a lot more people showing up and cheering. Um,
Absolutely.
so it wasn't like it was a dead marathon. It still had a decent amount of people, but I'd compare it to like another uh, marathon that's a city that's not one of the majors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
and
I
they
feel
were
like that's a good way to put it. I mean, I wasn't there, but I feel like that's a good way to describe it. I'm picturing
yeah
that in my head, like a bigger marathon in maybe like a major city, but not a
right
crazy like major marathon.
yeah
I've that is surprising though, but I also on the other hand feel like at least my experience was I saw Sydney might be added to the World Marathon Majors, and then all of a sudden like the lottery opened, and then like a bunch of people actually got in, and I didn't think that was going to be. I thought it was going to be really hard to get in, and
yeah
then all of a sudden, like it was added, and then it happened. Like in my head, it's only like a month span between the announcement, the
yeah
lottery, it happening, and then it's just over. So like,
right
you know, but that's a really interesting take on it. I am curious to see if it's different as it gains popularity.
right.
You know,
During the marathon, aid stations, water stations, they did a really good job with those. There was
love it,
plenty. I think it was every third mile, or maybe even every other mile. I forget, but there was plenty. There was
love
plenty.
that.
They didn't run out of cups or anything, so that's
Thank
always a
God.
plus.
What
Um,
did they have like Noon or Gatorade or anything or
yeah,
gels? Like what
I
was their
forget the
sponsor?
yeah, I forget the brand they had, but it's one of those off-brand ones for
Yeah.
sure. And then they'd
Love it.
passed out gels along the way at a couple of different spots. So
Cool.
it's kind of what you expect out of a major. So they did a really good job.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, the
No, that's
now
super nice to hear. You know,
the
for a first
expo,
time.
yeah, the expo was wild. Luckily,
I heard.
I missed out on that part. So
Hmm.
we of course went on day one, but we didn't go in the morning because we had tons of other stuff to do. So we went
Mm-hmm.
in the evening, probably within the last hour that it was open. So we missed out on all the chaos that was happening early on.
Hmm.
And so I'm glad I didn't go either because yeah, from what
Yeah.
I was seeing and what I heard, I would have been extremely irritated too. Um,
Yeah.
but
I
I
bet.
went later on. I mean, I think it was open until like 8 o'clock at night, and we went around like 6:30 or 7, and there was
No
like,
problem.
yeah, no problems, no real issues with the lines for pictures.
Good.
You kind of got. They probably think they must have restocked by then. I mean, there's
Hmm.
still like men's large is always the hot topic there. I mean, it's hard
Hmm.
to find those, but I still found a shirt that I liked and was able to get it.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think
Love
that
it.
that was just wild. It makes sense to me. I typically tell people like, hey, as soon as you get to one of these world majors in the expo, go like immediately because
Yeah.
you just want to get it done out the way. But
Always.
I think because this is a brand new major, and because by that day everybody had already traveled over there,
Hmm.
so it was like everybody had that same idea, go immediately, and
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's what kind of
I
did
know.
everyone in.
Listen, if they're going to mess up one thing, not that it's even a mess up, you can't really control when people are traveling in and out, but if they're going to mess up one thing, I'd rather it be the expo than the race itself, you
Hmm.
know? So it's like, I'll
Yeah.
take it. But I'm with you, like almost go instantly. And so you finished the race. What went through your head? Like when you looked up and you saw the Sydney Opera House and you're like, I just finished the Sydney Marathon, and it being like the first time it was a major, all the above, like what was going through your head?
Man, I was just elated. I mean, again, like I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't believe that I was halfway across the world and that I was doing it again. And I get so thankful and grateful for just finishing another marathon. Like truly,
Mm-hmm.
it might be cliche, but that's always one of the first things I do is I thank God for completing another marathon, and I kind of just look around and try to take in the sights and sounds. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was definitely very cool. Just kind of thinking I was part of that first class of people that were like 7-star finishers.
So cool.
So that was like just awesome. And then yeah, I was like, man, just kind of thinking of everything I had been through to get up to that point,
Mm-hmm.
and such a journey. But yeah, again, I just couldn't believe that I was at the Opera House, and
It's so
and
crazy.
I finished the marathon there,
That's
and
so
and then
insane.
and then yeah, and then just the walk back. I mean, I'm just like, man, I can't believe I'm five of the seven continents down, and
It's
just
unreal.
I guess we're looking forward to Cape Town next year,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Maybe I'll have
just
the same experience in my head with that one. Announcement, it'll become a major. We'll do the lottery and it'll happen 2 days later.
right. Well, I think that the rumor is that they're going to announce Cape Town the day after New York City, so it's going to be very reminiscent of me running New York City last year and then announcing
Mm-hmm.
City
In
the day
Sydney.
after. So we'll
Listen,
see,
it's
but that's what the
it's
rumor is.
we'll see. I we
I'm
manifest
sure
on
it'll.
this podcast, so maybe we're manifesting them announcing
I'm
Cape
sure it's going to
Town.
sell out like immediately too.
Oh,
So
100%. That'd be cool. I would totally do that. I mean, I want to do Sydney as well, but
yeah.
and did you have a celebration? What did you do after?
Oh, we went to this bar called Cruise.
Mhm.
Because again, Kelly and Fit does a very wonderful job of kind of setting up all these things for you, and
Mhm.
she always does a post race party, and so I of course love going to those because you get to see everybody that's from the group. Everyone's got their medals and their shirts
Mhm.
on, and it's just an amazing time to really kind of celebrate everybody's hey came halfway across the world to do this one thing, and we all got it done, and we're all there, and yeah, it was just a celebration. So good food, good vibes, some drinks, and yeah, it's just a good way to kind of complete finish the trip. To be
Yeah.
honest, so I ended up flying home the next day. I really don't like flying the day after a marathon, but I
Mhm.
think it must have just been that much better of pricing or something. Like I said, I typically don't like to. I typically like to stay around a day to kind of move my legs and do some
Yeah.
sightseeing, but it had to have just been better pricing. So I ended up flying
Yeah.
out the next day. But it kind of helps when you have lay down seats.
I
So
know.
on the way back, but
You making everybody get lay down seats for their next
yeah,
international
but I
marathon
was
right now.
definitely, man, like did not want to go home that next day. I had such a wonderful time, wonderful trip. Yeah, it
I
was
bet.
amazing.
I bet. Would you do it again?
Oh, eventually, yeah. I mean, I think I got to get back there to go to like the Great Barrier Reef again and stuff. But
Yeah.
to me, I felt like it was definitely a bucket list trip.
Mhm.
Um, Flying for that long, it really, I mean,
That would
it
get
takes a
me.
lot for me to kind of think about having to do that again.
Mhm.
But I think eventually I'll get back out there. If it's either to do the marathon or if it's not to do the marathon, who knows? But yeah, for sure.
Wow. I love Do you think you would have gone if it weren't for the marathon at some point?
Oh,
Was it ever a bucket list for you?
I I don't know. I think it's all because of running that I'm
Yeah.
able to I'm traveling to all these places and even have the idea to. I
Mhm.
without the running, I would have liked to think like, sure, I'd like to travel to some of these places, but I don't even know if I'd ever traveled to Australia, to be honest, until I knew like, hey, once I got in the running and I was
Mhm.
doing, coming up on these seven continents, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have to run Australia, and then
Yeah.
Sydney just happens to become a world major. So to me, those were like no brainers at that point. Like, yeah, we're going there and we're going to do this. But yeah, it's a good question because I always think of like Europe, Mediterranean stuff. Like, yeah, I've
Mhm.
always wanted to do those sort of things. But Australia just seems so far away. Like, oh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. and
That's really far.
you kind of fight that off in your head. You're like, oh, maybe not, but
Yeah.
after going there, yeah, I'd definitely like to go again eventually, but give it some time.
Yeah. I was going to say maybe not next year, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
in a few years, maybe for the anniversal marathon, fifth year,
right,
10 year.
right.
No, that's super cool. I'm so glad you had that experience. And I guess we'll have two more questions for you. Uh, do you have any advice for someone who wants to run an international marathon that might not like be into the majors and just wants to run an international marathon?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, do it. Like that's like I
Hmm.
gotta say is you can find 1,000 reasons why not to do something, but if you want to do it bad enough, you can make it happen. Just like it's like with any major event. But if I say, hey, I firsthand know that tomorrow is not guaranteed at
Hmm.
all. And that's kind of why I've gotten through all these majors so fast. I knew about the majors before my accident and thought, okay,
Hmm.
one day I'll get all these majors done. And I see how long it takes a lot of people,
Yeah.
understandably so. I understand that everybody has the time and the resources and everything, but after you almost die, you almost lose your leg. It puts a lot of things into perspective. And as I like my quote said, "Now we go." I mean,
Hmm.
there is
Now
no
we go.
tomorrow. There's for me. There's no later. There's no tomorrow. There's no next week. It's now,
Hmm.
and you don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to go now, but like just be intentional. But if
Hmm.
that's something you want to do, you will go overseas. Make it happen. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait for a perfect time because there's never going to be the
Never
perfect
going to
time.
be. That's
Um,
so true.
and if it's like I don't know, it is an expensive trip. I can't lie. But if that's something you want to do, start saving up now. It gives you a good reason to start saving up some money, and maybe you don't do it this next year, but maybe a couple years in the future time. And in the meantime, you can still start your running journey,
Hmm.
and slowly but surely get stronger and better. And by the time you travel out there to do it, you'll be in good shape and you'll be
Yeah.
your best self.
That's so true. I love that. I feel like that's going to resonate with a lot of people. And it's so true. I feel like I'm the same way, except I run way less marathons than you. But with anything, I'm just like, why not? Like, why not go somewhere for the weekend? Why not travel overseas if you really want to? Why not go for a week or five, whatever, 5 days, 6 days, any amount of time that you want? Um, because nothing's guaranteed. So I think that's great advice. Um, yeah, and lastly, I guess as we wrap things up here, what is next for you, Jared? What state are you checking off next?
Well, no new states until December, but I am running
Fair.
Chicago again next month, and then I'm running New York City again in November,
Yes.
and then December is the big A race that is the marathon project that will be out in Phoenix, Arizona. So Arizona will be a new state, so it'll be my 25th state, but
So
I
cool.
am shooting for the sub 3. So
Yes.
I have a coach hired, and I told him let's shoot for 255, so I have some leeway to fall back to 259 just in case.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that last year and last December was my first attempt at sub 3, and that's when I kind of strained my IT band pretty bad. I still came out with
Hmm.
301.
It's
uh,
insane.
yeah, great time still.
It's amazing.
Learned a lot, but this year I was like, I've always said, if and you hear, if there's something I want to do and I've never done it before, I must do something I've never done in order to
Before.
achieve
Yeah.
that. And so I've never had a coach before, and I think that was just something I need to do. I'm never
Hmm.
afraid to ask for help, to be honest. And this is it. I think having a coach is going to put me over the top because I think I have enough of a base,
Hmm.
but I need somebody that's going to tell me to do these speed days that I absolutely loathe. I'm not
Hmm.
a fan of speed days.
I'm so
I
with you.
and if I
Yeah.
don't have somebody saying this is what you got to do on Wednesday, I'm probably gonna make it just a normal run, and
Hmm.
it ain't gonna help me, right? And
No,
so
for sure.
I hired the coach. I feel like that's gonna be the thing that's really gonna put me over the top. And then I've been telling people
Absolutely.
too. I did run that 100 miler back in July, and
Hmm.
that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I've said with my disability, with my leg, it's really not the distance that's the issue with my leg. I think if I wanted to run farther and farther, 200 miles, 300 miles. I think eventually
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. It's just literally building up your time on feet. But with
Yeah.
my disability, missing my calves and my Achilles, those are the things that help make you run faster. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where my curiosity grows with me missing those in one of my legs is I'm curious how fast I can go.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have that. So I think that's why the speed is always going to be my biggest issue, is always going to be
Mm-hmm.
my biggest, uh, thing to get through. So
Yeah.
we'll
Absolutely.
see. Yeah. So I'm shooting for that sub 3. And so I think it's going to be the toughest thing I've ever done. And, yeah, I think the coach is going to put me over the top when you know,
Yeah.
we're going to manifest it. We're going to make it
Yes, I
happen.
was gonna
And so
say we have to come back in December when you break 3 and
it'll be my
you run
25th
it.
state, and it's
Yep,
yeah, it's we're gonna see. So
25th state and
everything
sub
up to
3.
there is just a slow build. So he knows of all my crazy marathons I'm doing in the meantime, and we're just
I
kind of
love it.
making those workouts and everything. So
Love it. I think you are gonna see. I mean, you already are insanely successful and insanely fast, but I think hiring a coach was one of the best things I ever did for that exact reason. It was kind of like cracking into your actual potential versus what your mind kind of tricks you into thinking you're only capable of, if that makes sense. For a lot of people, like I feel
yeah,
like you're very good emotionally at like getting through those thoughts and feelings, and you always are proving yourself wrong because you're an amazing athlete. But I think for a lot of runners, it's like you kind of convince yourself you can't until you have someone holding you accountable. But
yeah,
yeah, those speed work days, my coach is the only thing that holds me accountable because I know they're looking at those numbers and they're like, girl, you better get it together.
yes, yeah,
But that's awesome. So for everybody listening, once again, we're manifesting sub 3 in
yes.
Arizona, state 25 for Jared. I'm so confident that you're going to do it. So as
Thank
you
you.
can see, I have the biggest smile on my face. I'm like pre-celebrating for you breaking a sub 3, literally.
Yes, yes.
um, no, I love it.
Visualization is everything. Like, this is
That's
how
right.
I'm gonna look. This is how Allie's gonna look when I tell her that I did
Exactly. Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Well, we'll be back here in December to talk about it because
Yes.
I know it's going to be awesome. But
Heck yeah.
now, as always, Jared, you're the best. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for talking about your experience in Sydney and all the crazy things in between. I'm so proud of you as always. And yeah, I can't wait to hear how all these races go, especially December. So thanks for being here again.
Yeah. Thanks again so much for having me on. Thank you for your time. It's always a great experience. Just meeting up with you, vibing
Love
out,
it.
and just
Yes.
talking these things. So again,
Every
I'm
time.
just blessed to be here to share a little bit of my life with you and the audience. So again, yeah, thank you.
The best. Thanks, Jared. I am so grateful that running and on the runs brought Jared into my life. His story is super, super inspiring, and he is one of the most inspiring athletes I know. I really hope you all enjoyed this track of the Allie G Show and Jared's debrief on the Sydney Marathon and all of the things in between. As always, if you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like it, share it, subscribe to it, all the good stuff. Follow along on Instagram at @the_Allie G Show and keep up with Jared on Instagram at JRod4513. Thanks for listening.